The red dust of New Pyongyang swirled around Sergeant Kang Tae-yang's boots as he led his squad through the abandoned agricultural sector. 3 years into the war with the Velthran Empire, this colony world had become a graveyard of broken dreams and shattered settlements. The alien invaders had pushed humanity to the edge, and every patrol felt like walking through a minefield. Tae-yang raised his fist, signaling his team to halt. Something felt wrong. The air was too quiet, the kind of silence that made his skin crawl. He had learned to trust these instincts during his 8 years in the Marine Corps. The plasma bolt came from nowhere, striking the ground inches from his feet. The world exploded into chaos. "Contact! Enemy contact!" Someone screamed over the radio. Blue energy beams cut through the air like deadly lightning. Tae-yang dove behind a rusted agricultural machine, his rifle already firing back at the shimmer of movement in the distance. The Velthran were masters of ambush. Their crystalline skin reflected light, making them nearly invisible until they wanted to be seen. Tae-yang could see at least 6 of them, their massive 7-foot frames moving with impossible grace despite their size. Each one had 4 arms, all holding weapons that could vaporize a human in seconds. His squad scattered, taking defensive positions. Private Han was hit almost immediately. His scream cut short as the plasma burned through his armor. Tae-yang felt the familiar cold fury settle over him. He had lost too many friends in this war. Then the sky lit up with fire. A Velthran transport ship screamed overhead, trailing black smoke and spinning out of control. It must have been hit by anti-aircraft fire from the colony's automated defenses. Tae-yang watched as it crashed into the abandoned warehouse complex 200 meters away, the impact shaking the ground beneath his feet. The ambush broke apart as the Velthran soldiers turned their attention to the crash site. They were retreating, moving to help their own. Tae-yang should have let them go. His orders were clear: survive and report enemy positions. Nothing more. But something made him move toward the crash site instead. His second-in-command, Corporal Min Seo, grabbed his arm. "Cover me," Tae-yang said, shaking off her grip. 2 minutes. He ran toward the burning wreckage, keeping low and fast. Smoke poured from the twisted metal, and small fires burned everywhere. The transport had split in half, spilling cargo containers across the ground. Tae-yang moved carefully, his rifle ready for any threat. That's when he heard it. A small, frightened sound. A child crying. He found her trapped under a piece of the hull, her small body pinned but not crushed. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Her skin had the same crystalline quality as adult Velthran, but softer, almost translucent. She had 4 small arms, and all of them were reaching toward him, fingers spread in what he somehow knew was a plea for help. Their eyes met. Hers were large and amber-colored, filled with terror and pain. In that moment, she didn't look like an alien enemy. She looked like his little sister Ji-woo when she had fallen from a tree at age 7, scared and hurt and needing someone to save her. Tae-yang dropped his rifle and grabbed the hull piece, straining against its weight. The metal was hot, burning his gloves, but he pulled with everything he had. The piece shifted, and the child scrambled free, her small hands clutching at his armor. "Sergeant, the whole thing's going to blow!" Min Seo's voice crackled over his radio. Tae-yang looked down at the child in his arms. He could hear the power core whining, building to an overload. There was no time to run, no time to get clear. He did the only thing he could. He threw himself over the small alien body, wrapping his armored form around her as completely as possible. His back faced the transport. His body became her shield. The explosion was massive. Fire and shrapnel tore through the air. Tae-yang felt his armor crack and split as something hot and sharp slammed into his back. The pain was incredible, like being hit by a burning hammer. He tried to stay conscious, to keep holding the child, but darkness was creeping in from the edges of his vision. He could feel her shaking beneath him, terrified but alive. That was good. That was enough. The darkness took him. When Commander Yira arrived with reinforcements, she expected to find her daughter dead. The transport carrying Lixara back from the medical station had been hit. The crash site was still burning. Every warrior knew that nothing could survive such an impact and explosion. But there was her daughter, standing in the wreckage, covered in ash and blood that wasn't hers, and lying unconscious at her feet was a human soldier, his armor shattered, his back torn open by shrapnel that should have killed a Velthrin child instead. Yira's mind couldn't process what she was seeing. Humans didn't do this. Humans were savages who killed without mercy. The propaganda said so. The war reports confirmed it. Yet here was one who had used his own body to shield an enemy child. "Mother," Lixara cried, running to her on unsteady legs. "Mother, the protector saved me. The human saved me." Yira caught her daughter, holding her tight, feeling the rapid beat of her two hearts. Alive. Her child was alive. Because of the impossible choice of one human soldier, she knelt beside the unconscious human, studying his face. He was young, probably not even 30 cycles. His face was peaceful, despite the terrible wounds on his back. She could see the scars on his hands, the marks of a warrior who had seen much combat. But those same hands had pulled her daughter from the wreckage. "War Master Krell is coming," one of her soldiers reported. "He will want the human executed." Yira made her decision in an instant. She placed her hand on the human's chest, feeling the strange rhythm of his single heart beating weakly. "No," she said firmly. "I invoke life debt. This human saved my daughter with his own body. By our oldest law, his life is now mine to protect." The soldiers around her went silent. Life debt was ancient and sacred. Even Krell would not dare violate it. "Get him to the medical bay," Yira commanded. "The best doctors we have. Human and Velthrin both. Whatever it takes to keep him alive." As they carefully lifted the wounded soldier onto a stretcher, Lixara clutched her mother's hand. "Is the protector going to die?" Yira looked down at her daughter, then back at the human who had done the impossible. "No, little one. I will not allow it. He protected you with his body. Now, I will protect him with mine." She didn't understand why he had done it. But she would have her answers. This human had changed everything with one act of mercy, and Commander Yira of the Velthrin Empire did not forget her debts. Taeyang woke to pain and the smell of strange chemicals. His back felt like it was on fire, and every breath sent sharp spikes through his chest. He tried to move, and immediately regretted it. "Stay still, Sergeant Kang." The voice was human, speaking Korean with a familiar accent. "You're lucky to be alive." He forced his eyes open. The ceiling above him was made of some kind of blue metal that seemed to glow softly. Not human construction. His heart raced as memory came flooding back. The ambush. The crash. The child. "Where am I?" His voice came out as a rough whisper. "Velthrin command ship, medical bay." A woman's face appeared above him. She was in her 40s, with kind eyes and tired features. "I'm Dr. Hyrin Park. I was captured 6 months ago, when they took the research station on Titan. I'm a prisoner." It wasn't a question. Technically, yes. But it's complicated. Dr. Park adjusted something on the medical scanner above him. The commander invoked something called life debt. Apparently, you saved her daughter, and now you're under her protection. The Velthrin take that very seriously. Before Taeyang could respond, the door opened with a soft hiss. The alien who entered was massive, even for a Velthrin. She had to be 7 feet tall, with crystalline skin that shifted colors from pale blue to silver. 4 arms, just like all her species. But she carried herself with obvious authority. Behind her, peeking around her legs, was a small face he recognized. The child from the crash, alive and apparently healthy. "You are awake," the adult Velthrin said in surprisingly good English. "I am Commander Yira. You saved my daughter, Lixara. Also in the dater, I am Commander Yira. Also in the restamost work, I am Commander Yira. You saved my daughter. I mean requel to dater. I am Commander Yira. Taeyang tried to sit up, but pain lanced through him. Dr. Park pushed him back down gently. Why am I not dead? Taeyang asked bluntly. I'm your enemy. You saved an innocent child, Yira replied, moving closer. Her forearms moved in complex patterns as she spoke, a form of body language he didn't understand. You could have left her. You could have killed her. Instead, you shielded her with your own body. Why? Why? Taeyang thought about his answer. The truth seemed too simple. She was scared. She needed help. That's all. True. Yira's expression was difficult to read. But he saw something shift in her amber eyes. That is all? You did not calculate advantage? Did not think of gaining intelligence or leverage? She was a child, Taeyang said, confused. She was hurt and scared. There was nothing to calculate. The small girl, Lixara, pulled away from her mother and approached the bed. She looked at Taeyang with those large amber eyes, then very deliberately placed one of her small hands on his arm. She said something in her own language, soft and musical. She says, "Thank you, protector," Yira translated. She wishes to learn your name. Taeyang, he said, looking at the child. My name is Kang Taeyang. Lixara tried to repeat it, stumbling over the pronunciation. Something in his chest felt tight, and it wasn't from his injuries. Over the next few weeks, Taeyang's life became stranger than any dream. He was kept in a special section of the medical bay, guarded but treated well. Dr. Park visited daily to check his progress, always accompanied by Velthran doctors who seemed genuinely interested in helping him heal. But his most frequent visitor was Lixara. The child came every day, sometimes with her mother, sometimes with guards. She brought him pictures she had drawn, strange alien fruit she wanted him to try, and an endless stream of questions. She taught him words in her language, laughing when he got the pronunciation wrong. In return, he taught her more English and told her stories about Earth. What is snow? She asked one day, sitting cross-legged beside his bed. It's frozen water that falls from the sky, Taeyang explained. It's white and soft and cold. When I was young, my sister and I would build snow people and have snow battles. You have a sister? Lixara's eyes went wide. Like me? Her name is Ji-woo. She's younger than you, actually. Does she miss you? The question hit harder than he expected. Yes, very much. And I miss her too. I miss, very much. Yes. Lixara considered this seriously, then patted his hand with two of hers. I will be your sister here, so you are not lonely. 1. Taeyang found himself smiling despite everything. Thank you, Lixara. That's very kind. Commander Yira watched these interactions from a distance, always present but rarely interfering. Taeyang noticed she was there more often than guard duty required. Sometimes he caught her staring at him with an expression he couldn't read. One evening, after Lixara had been taken to bed, Yira stayed behind. She stood by the window, looking out at the stars. May I ask you something? Taeyang said from his bed. He could sit up now, though standing was still difficult. You may. Why did you really save me? Not the life-debt thing. The real reason. Fime. Our real reason. Yira was quiet for a long moment. My mate died 2 years ago, killed in battle against human forces. I wanted to hate all humans. The propaganda made it easy. They told us you were monsters who killed children, who destroyed worlds without mercy. She turned to face him, her forearms crossed in a gesture that seemed defensive. But then I saw you covering my daughter with your body, taking wounds that should have killed her. And I could not understand it. If humans are monsters, why did you do that? We're not monsters, Taeyang said quietly. And I don't think you are either. I think we've been lied to. I am beginning to believe the same thing. Yira moved closer. Do you know what War Master Krell wants? He wants me to execute you. He says keeping you alive makes me weak, that life debt is an old law that has no place in modern war. Maybe he's right. No. Yira's response was immediate and fierce. You showed honor when it would have been easier to show cruelty. You showed mercy when you had every reason for revenge. That is not weakness. That is strength. She placed one of her hands on the window, looking back at the stars. My people value strength above all else. But we have forgotten that true strength includes knowing when not to fight. You reminded me of that. The door opened, and Dr. Park entered. Sorry to interrupt, but the War Master is here. He's demanding to speak with you, Commander. Yira's expression hardened. Tell him I will be there shortly. After the doctor left, Yira looked back at Tae-Yang. There will be challenges ahead. Krell will not accept this easily. But I have made my choice. You are under my protection, and I do not break my word. Why? Tae-Yang asked. Why fight your own people for me? Yira's answer was simple and devastating. Because my daughter calls you protector. Because you made me question everything I thought I knew about your species. And because honor demands it. Plus, she left, and Tae-Yang was alone with his thoughts. He had saved a child on instinct, expecting to die for it. Instead, he had somehow become entangled in alien politics he didn't understand, protected by a commander who was risking everything to keep him alive. Through the window, he could see Earth in the distance, a blue marble against the black of space. Somewhere down there, Ji-Woo was waiting for him to come home. He wondered if he ever would. And he wondered if the woman who had just left, the enemy commander with the sad eyes and fierce loyalty, might somehow become the key to ending this war. Lixera's drawings were scattered on the table beside his bed. One showed a stick figure covering a smaller figure, protecting it from flames. Below it, in careful letters, she had written. He picked it up and held it carefully. Whatever happened next, he had saved one innocent life. In a war full of death and destruction. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. 2 months passed, and Tae-Yang could finally walk without pain shooting through his back. The scars would never fully heal. But Dr. Park said he was lucky to be alive at all. He spent his days in a strange routine. Physical therapy in the morning, language lessons with Lixara in the afternoon, and long evenings staring out at the stars. Commander Yira came to visit him late one night, when the ship was quiet and most of the crew was sleeping. She looked troubled. Her forearms moving restlessly in patterns he had learned meant she was upset. Something is wrong, Tae-Yang said. It wasn't a question. I need to show you something, Yira replied. But if I do, there is no going back. You will know things that could get us both killed. Show me. Yira pulled out a data tablet, one of the human ones they had captured. She activated it, and a series of documents appeared on the screen. Military reports, communication logs, financial records. Do you know how this war started? She asked. Tae-Yang recited what every human soldier knew. 3 years ago, Velthrin forces attacked a civilian mining station on Europa. 700 people died. The attack was unprovoked. Earth had no choice but to respond. And do you know what my people were told? Yira's voice was bitter. That human raiders attacked one of our resource colonies. That they killed 300 Velthrin civilians, including children. She swiped through the documents on the tablet. Both stories are lies. Look at this. Financial records from a human corporation called Titan Resources. They were illegally mining in Velthrin territory. When we sent ships to investigate, someone attacked both fleets. Made it look like we attacked each other. Tae-Yang stared at the evidence. Bank transfers. Communications between corporate executives. Orders to mercenary groups. It was all there. Why? He whispered. Why would anyone do this? Money. Yira spat the word like a curse. War is profitable. Weapons manufacturers, military contractors, resource companies that want access to restricted territories. They make billions while our people die. She showed him more documents, evidence of sabotaged peace talks, assassinations of diplomats from both sides, false flag operations designed to keep the hatred burning. There are people in my government who want this war to continue, Yira said. War Master Krell is one of them. His family owns half the weapons manufacturing in the Empire. Every battle makes him richer. And on Earth? Taeyang asked, though he already knew the answer. The same. We have intercepted communications. Your own military-industrial complex is working to prevent peace. They have agents in both governments. Taeyang felt sick. He thought of all the friends he had lost. Private Han, who died in the ambush. Corporal Subin, killed at the Battle of Titan. Lieutenant Jai Hyun, who had been like an older brother to him. They had all died for corporate profits. What do we do? He asked. There are others who know the truth, Yira said. A human ambassador named Sung Min Cho has been trying to arrange secret peace talks. My mother, elder matriarch, Thessa, supports him, but they need proof. Evidence that cannot be denied. This evidence. Taeyang gestured to the tablet. Yes. But there is a problem. Krell knows I have been investigating. He is moving against me. If I present this information now, he will have me arrested for treason before anyone can see it. So we need to get it to someone who can use it. Yira looked at him with an expression he was starting to recognize. Respect. You would help me? Your own government is involved in this conspiracy. My government is being manipulated by criminals, Taeyang said firmly. The people who sent me to fight, the soldiers I serve with, they don't know the truth. They think they're protecting Earth. If they knew. He stood up, ignoring the slight twinge in his back. We have to stop this war. Not for governments or corporations. For the people dying on both sides. Lixara appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes sleepily. Yira's expression softened instantly. Just talking with Protector Taeyang, little one. Go back to bed. Can Taeyang tell me a story first? Taeyang looked at Yira, who nodded. He went to the child and knelt down to her level. How about I tell you a story about two kingdoms that thought they were enemies, but were really friends who didn't know it yet? Lixara's eyes brightened. Yes, that one. As Taeyang led the child back to her sleeping quarters, he was aware of Yira following behind. This had become normal over the past weeks. He would tell Lixara stories, and Yira would listen from the doorway, a strange look on her face. He didn't realize that in Velthran culture, allowing a male to care for your child was a sign of deep trust. He didn't know that the time Yira spent with him, the way she protected him, the access she gave him to her daughter, these were all traditional signs of a female considering a male as a potential mate. But others knew. The whispers had already started among the crew. The commander was showing favor to the human. She was spending too much time with him. She was allowing him privileges that even Velthran officers didn't have. War Master Krell heard these whispers and smiled. This was exactly what he needed. Evidence of the commander's betrayal. Proof that she had been corrupted by the enemy. After Lixara fell asleep, Taeyang returned to find Yira still in his quarters, staring at the evidence on the tablet. There is something else you should know, she said quietly. The life debt I invoked to protect you. It is more significant than I told you. What do you mean? In Velthran culture, when a female places someone under life debt, she is declaring that their life has value equal to her own family, that she will defend them as she would defend her own blood. Claimed me? No. The human word would be mate. The silence stretched between them. Taeyang's mind was racing. He thought of all the times Yira had visited, the way she watched him with Lixara, the fierce protectiveness she showed when Krell threatened him. Have you? He asked carefully. Claimed me? Yira's crystalline skin seemed to shift colors. Something he had learned meant she was feeling strong emotion. I do not know. Our species are so different. What I feel when I see you with my daughter, when I speak with you about the war, when I think of you being harmed, I do not have words for it. In either language. I think, Taeyang said slowly, that maybe I understand. Because I feel something similar. When I'm with you and Lixera, it feels right. Like family. Like home. We are enemies, Yira said, but there was no conviction in her voice. Are we? Or are we just two people who were told to be enemies by people who profit from our hatred? Before Yira could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the corridors. A voice came over the communication system, speaking in Velthran too fast for Taeyang to follow. Yira's expression went hard. Krell. He is making his move. What's happening? He is claiming I have committed treason. That I have betrayed my people for a human. She looked at Taeyang, and he saw fear in her eyes for the first time. He is coming. For you. And for Lixara. Over my dead body, Taeyang said, his voice cold and determined. Yira's expression shifted to something that might have been admiration. That is what I am afraid of. But you are right. We protect her. Together. She tossed him a plasma rifle, the same kind the Velthran military used. Do you know how to use this? I'll figure it out. Good. Because Krell's soldiers are coming. And this time, we fight not for governments or empires. We fight for the truth. And for family. Taeyang checked the weapon's charge and took a position by the door. Outside, he could hear running footsteps and shouted orders. Yira stood beside him, all four of her arms holding weapons, her posture protective and ready. Somewhere in the sleeping quarters behind them, Lixara was sleeping peacefully, unaware that the war between their peoples was about to become very personal, and that the protector who had saved her once would soon have to do it again. The trial took place on the Velthran homeworld, in the Grand Council chamber, where the 5 matriarchs ruled the empire. Taeyang had never seen anything like it. The building was massive, carved from a single piece of crystal that seemed to glow from within. Thousands of Velthran filled the galleries, watching as Commander Yira and a human soldier stood before their leaders. Beside him, Ambassador Sung Min Cho looked nervous but determined. The older man had risked everything to bring the evidence to light. Now, it was up to them to make the council believe. This is madness, Sung Min whispered in Korean. A human and a Velthran, accusing both governments of conspiracy. They'll never believe us. They'll never believe us. They have to, Taeyang replied. Look at the evidence. On the other side of the chamber stood War Master Krell, his massive form radiating confidence. Behind him were representatives from the human military-industrial complex, looking smug and untouchable. The eldest of the 5 matriarchs, a Velthran so old her crystalline skin had turned almost transparent, raised her hand for silence. Taeyang recognized her from Yira's description. Elder Matriarch Thessa, Yira's mother. We are here, Thessa announced in a voice that carried through the entire chamber, to hear accusations of the highest treason. Commander Yira claims that this war was manufactured by corrupt interests in both our peoples. War Master Krell claims that Commander Yira has betrayed us all for a human. Present your evidence. Yira stepped forward, her forearms steady despite the weight of what she was about to do. Honored matriarchs, I present financial records, communications, and testimony that prove this war was started by corporate interests who profit from conflict. The evidence was displayed on massive screens for all to see. Bank transfers. Communications between CEOs and military officials. Orders to attack both Velthran and human forces to create the appearance of aggression. The chamber erupted in noise, Velthran shouting in outrage. The human representatives trying to deny the evidence. Krell, demanding the records be thrown out as forgeries. Silence, Thessa commanded. War Master Krell, how do you respond to this evidence? It is fake, Krell said smoothly. Created by the human prisoner to sow discord. Commander Yira has been seduced by the enemy. She has allowed sentiment for a human who saved her daughter to cloud her judgment. The evidence has been verified by our own intelligence division, another matriarch said. These records are real. Then they were obtained illegally, Krell shot back. And even if they are real, what does it matter? The war has given us strength. We have expanded our territory. Our military is stronger than ever. Why should we seek peace with humans? Because our children are dying for lies. Yira's voice rang out. Because every day this war continues. Families on both sides lose their loved ones for nothing but profit. She turned to address the entire chamber, not just the matriarchs. I lost my mate to this war. I hated humans for it. I wanted revenge. But then I saw one of them shield my daughter with his own body, taking wounds that should have killed her. And I had to ask myself, if humans are truly monsters, why would he do that? Char. Krell laughed, a harsh sound. One human showed mercy. That proves nothing. It was probably a trick. It was not a trick. Taeyang spoke for the first time, his voice steady despite his racing heart. I saved Lixara because she was a child in danger, because I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try. Because that's what humans do. We protect the innocent, even when they're supposed to be our enemies. How noble. Krell sneered. And for this one act of mercy, you expect us to end the war? To give up our advantage? I expect you to see the truth, Taeyang said. That we've all been used, manipulated, lied to. Your people and mine. We're not so different. We both love our families. We both want peace. We've just been told that the other side is the enemy. Before Krell could respond, alarms began blaring. Velthran soldiers rushed into the chamber, their weapons drawn. What is the meaning of this? Thessa demanded. The lead soldier bowed quickly. Honored matriarch, there has been an incident. Krell's private forces have taken hostages. They are demanding the human be handed over, immediately. Yira went rigid beside Taeyang. What hostages? The soldier hesitated. The child. Lixara. They took her from the secured quarters. Lixara. Everything stopped. Taeyang felt ice in his veins. Yira's crystalline skin went completely white, a sign of pure terror in her species. Krell, she said, her voice deadly quiet. Krell smiled. I have done what was necessary. The human will be executed, and you will be removed from command. This ends. Now, you took my daughter. I took a resource. A tool to ensure compliance. She will not be harmed if my orders are followed. Taeyang was moving before he even thought about it. His fist connected with Krell's jaw with a satisfying crunch. The War Master stumbled back, shocked. Before his guards could react, Yira had her weapons drawn and pointed at Krell's head. Where is she? Yira's voice was pure death. You cannot threaten me in the Grand Council, Krell said, but there was fear in his eyes now. The matriarchs. My daughter is taken, and you expect me to follow protocol? Yira's forearms were shaking with rage. Tell me where she is, or I will scatter your remains across this chamber. Thessa stood. Commander Yira, stand down. War Master Krell, you have gone too far. Taking a child as a hostage violates every law we hold sacred. The human violated our laws by existing, Krell spat. This weakness will destroy us all. The only thing destroying us is your greed, Ambassador Sungmin said. We have evidence of your financial interests in continuing the war. You're nothing but a criminal hiding behind military rank. Krell's expression turned ugly. You want your war to end? Fine. The child dies. The human dies. And anyone who supports them dies. My forces control half the fleet. You cannot stop me. He moved toward the door, but Taeyang was faster. Years of combat training took over. He dodged the guards, grabbed a weapon from one of them, and had it pressed against Krell's spine before anyone could react. You're going to tell me where Lixara is, Taeyang said quietly. And you're going to do it now. Or what? You'll shoot me? In front of the entire Velthran government? Yes. The single word, said with absolute conviction, made Krell pause. He looked into Taeyang's eyes and saw something there that made him believe. The abandoned shipyard. Krell said quickly. Sector 7. She's with 12 of my soldiers. Yira, Taeyang said, not taking his eyes off Krell. Go get your daughter. Read. Go get your daughter. End of Yuan. Read from a mom. Windus died. End of Yuan. Read from a mom. Not without you. I'll hold him here. Make sure he doesn't warn his forces. If I go, he will kill you. Taeyang smiled, though there was no humor in it. Then come back fast. Quote, I do include. Yira hesitated for only a moment. Then, she was moving. Faster than Taeyang had ever seen her move. Other loyal soldiers followed her, including several human marines who had been part of the ambassador's security detail. The chamber erupted in chaos. Some of Krell's supporters tried to help him. Loyal council guards moved to stop them. In the confusion, Krell made his move, slamming an elbow into Taeyang's ribs and knocking the weapon away. They fought hand to hand. A human against a Velthran. Krell had size and strength. Taeyang had speed and desperation. Around them, the chamber had devolved into a small war of its own. Taeyang took a heavy blow to the chest that sent him flying. He crashed into the crystal wall, feeling something crack. His ribs, maybe. Or the wall. He struggled to his feet as Krell advanced. You should have stayed dead on New Pyongyang, Krell said. This is all your fault. One act of mercy, and you've destroyed everything. No, Taeyang said, tasting blood. You destroyed everything. I just showed people there was another way. Krell raised his forearms to strike a killing blow. But before he could, a plasma bolt hit him in the shoulder. He roared in pain and turned to see Dr. Hyrin Park standing there with a weapon, her hands shaking but her aim steady. Nobody kills my patient, she said firmly. The fighting stopped as Yira returned, carrying Lixara in two of her arms. The child was crying but unharmed. Behind Yira came soldiers, both human and Velthran, working together. Taeyang! Yira's eyes found his across the chamber. He was bleeding and could barely stand, but he was alive. She moved toward him, and Lixara reached out with her small arms. You came back, Taeyang said, his voice weak. Always, Yira replied. For family. Always. Lixara launched herself from her mother's arms into his, and Taeyang caught her, despite the pain. The child wrapped all four of her arms around his neck and wouldn't let go. Elder Matriarch Thessa surveyed the chaos in her chamber. Krell, wounded and captured. Evidence of conspiracy displayed for all to see. Human and Velthran soldiers standing side by side. And in the center of it all, a human soldier holding a Velthran child while her mother watched with an expression that every Velthran understood. Enough, Thessa said, her voice cutting through the noise. War Master Krell, you are stripped of rank and placed under arrest for treason, kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit murder. The evidence presented by Commander Yira and Ambassador Sung Min Cho will be fully investigated. She looked at Taeyang, still holding Lixara. And you, human. You have shown more honor in these past months than many who were born to it. You saved a child. You exposed corruption. You fought to protect her again when she was taken. These are the actions of a true warrior. 4. Taeyang bowed his head respectfully, though he didn't put Lixara down. She had her face buried in his shoulder and was still shaking. Commander Yira, Thessa continued. Your actions were reckless. You violated protocols. You placed personal feelings above military discipline. Yira stood at attention, ready to accept whatever punishment came, and you were absolutely right to do so. Thessa finished. You showed us that honor and duty are not always the same thing. That sometimes, the right choice is the difficult one. The old matriarch looked around the chamber at the assembled witnesses. This war ends today. We will begin immediate negotiations with Earth for a lasting peace. Those who profited from this conflict will face justice. And we will work to ensure this never happens again. She approached Taeyang, studying him carefully. My granddaughter has claimed you as protector. My daughter has placed you under life debt. These are not small things in our culture. What say you, human? Will you accept these bonds? Taeyang looked at Lixara in his arms. Then at Yira standing beside him. I saved one child because it was the right thing to do. I didn't expect this. Any of this. But yes, I accept. They're my family now. Both of them. Something passed between him and Yira then. An understanding. An acknowledgement of what had been building between them for months. Then it is decided, Thessa said. Let it be known that Sergeant Kang Taeyang of Earth is under the protection of House Yira. Any who harm him, harm us all. As the council guards led Krell away, as diplomats began the complicated work of ending a war, Taeyang finally let himself rest. He sat down, still holding Lixara, and Yira sat beside him. One of her hands found his, their fingers intertwining in a gesture that transcended species. Thank you, she said softly. Same to you, Taeyang replied. You saved me first, remember? We saved each other, Yira corrected. That is what family does. Lixara lifted her head and looked between them. Are we going home now? Yira and Taeyang exchanged a glance. Home. The word meant something different now. Yes, Yira said, stroking her daughter's head with one hand while still holding Taeyang's with another. We are going home, and for the first time since the war began, home didn't mean a place. It meant the people beside you. 6 months after the trial, Taeyang stood on a beach on Earth, watching the sun set over the Pacific Ocean. The water was calm, reflecting orange and pink across its surface. Behind him, he could hear Lixara laughing as she experienced ocean waves for the first time. It tickles, she shouted in Korean, her language skills now nearly perfect. Mother. Come feel it. Yira waded into the shallow water, her crystalline skin catching the sunset light and scattering it in rainbow patterns. She had never seen an ocean before visiting Earth. The Velthrin homeworld had water, but nothing like this vast expanse. Your planet is beautiful, Yira said, coming to stand beside Taeyang. I understand now why humans fight so hard to protect it. It's your planet too now, Taeyang reminded her. The treaty made that clear. Velthrin have the same rights as any Earth citizen, and humans on our world, Yira added. It is still strange to think about. 6 months ago, we were at war. Now, I am standing on a human beach with my family. The word family still felt new, but right. After the trial, things had moved quickly. The Treaty of Two Skies had been signed by both governments. The conspirators, human and Velthrin alike, were facing justice. Trade agreements had been established. Cultural exchange programs were starting, and Taeyang had discovered something unexpected about the life-binding ritual Yira had performed to save him during Lixara's rescue. Dr. Park says my aging has slowed, he said, not for the first time. The discovery still amazed him. She thinks I'll live as long as you do now. 300 years. The life binding links us, Yira explained, as she had before. Your life is tied to mine now. We will age together, grow old together. She paused, 2 of her hands fidgeting with a piece of driftwood she had picked up. Does this bother you? That you are bound to me without fully choosing it? Taeyang turned to face her fully. Over the past months, he had learned to read her expressions. the subtle shifts in her crystalline skin color, the patterns her forearms made when she was feeling different emotions. Right now, she was nervous. "Yira," he said gently, "I understand what the life binding means in your culture. I've been studying Velthran customs. When you performed it, you were claiming me as your mate, making a permanent bond." Her skin shifted to a deep blue, the Velthran equivalent of a blush. Yes. In that moment, seeing you wounded again, protecting my daughter, I could not let you die. And the only way to save you was the life binding. But I should have asked first. Should have explained. Would I have said no? Taeyang asked. Would I have chosen to die rather than be bound to you? I do not know. That is why I should have asked. Taeyang took one of her 4 hands in both of his. I'm asking now. Yira, will you be my mate? My wife, as humans call it? Will you let me be a father to Lixara and a partner to you? For a moment, Yira just stared at him. Then she made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. In Velthran culture, the female asks. The female proves she can provide and protect. I have been trying to court you properly for months, and you did not notice. I noticed, Taeyang said, smiling. I just wanted to do it the human way too. We propose. We go down on one knee. He started to kneel in the sand. Do not you dare, Yira said, pulling him back up. Your injuries are barely healed. I will not have you hurting yourself to follow a human custom. Then what do? We do both, Yira decided. I claim you, as is Velthran tradition. You propose to me, as is human tradition. We honor both our peoples. She pulled him close, and he wrapped his arms around her waist while her 4 arms enfolded him. This close, he could feel the warmth of her crystalline skin, see his reflection in its faceted surface. I claim you, Kang Taeyang, Yira said formally. As mate, as partner, as family. I will provide for you and protect you. I will stand with you against any threat. I will love you until my heart stops beating. I accept, Taeyang replied, then added his own vow. And I propose to you, Yira of House Thessa. Will you be my wife? Will you let me protect you and provide for you? Will you stand with me against any threat? Will you let me love you for as long as we both live? I accept, Yira said, and kissed him. It was strange, kissing someone with a different biology. But they made it work, just as they had made everything else work. Finally. Lixara's voice made them break apart. The child was standing nearby, arms crossed in exasperation. I have been waiting forever for you two to figure this out. Uncle Sung Min owes me 10 credits. I told him you would do it before the month ended. You bet on us? Taeyang asked, laughing. Everyone did. Lixara said matter-of-factly. Dr. He Rin thought it would take another 3 months. Grandmother Thessa said 2 weeks. I said before the month ends. And I was right. Yira shook her head, but she was smiling. Lixara ran to them, and they lifted her up between them. The 3 of them stood there as the sun finished setting, a human, a Velthran adult, and a Velthran child, all holding each other against the cooling evening air. Is Taeyang my father now? Lixara asked. Officially, if you want him to be, Yira said. I do. Can I call him father, instead of protector? Taeyang felt his throat tighten with emotion. I would be honored. Father Taeyang. I like how that sounds. Lixara hugged him tighter. Does this mean I can have a little brother? Or sister? That is not possible, Yira said quickly. Humans and Velthran cannot have children together. Our biology is too different. Oh, Lixara looked disappointed. But we are still a family. Yes? Yes, Taeyang and Yira said together. Then that is enough, Lixara decided. Family is not about biology anyway. Uncle Sungmin taught me that. Family is about who loves you and who you love back. Out of the mouths of children, Taeyang thought. She was absolutely right. A figure was walking toward them from the beach house. Tae-yang recognized his mother, Mi-sun Kang, coming to call them for dinner. She had been terrified when he first told her about Yira and Lixara, her son, bonded to an alien, becoming father to an alien child. But one meeting with them had changed everything. "Dinner is ready," Mi-sun called out in Korean, then repeated it in careful Velthrin. She had been studying the language. "And your sister is getting impatient, Tae-yang. She wants to show Lixara her toy collection. Ji-woo just wants to play with someone her own size," Tae-yang said, but he was smiling. His little sister had been fascinated by Lixara from the moment they met. They walked back to the house together, Lixara running ahead to find Ji-woo. Inside, it was warm and filled with the smell of cooking food. Mi-sun had prepared both Korean dishes and Velthrin meals, using recipes that Dr. Hae-rin had helped translate. Ambassador Sung-min Cho was there too, along with several other diplomats, both human and Velthrin. This house had become an unofficial meeting place for the peace process. Here, away from government buildings and formal settings, real progress was being made. "Ah, the happy couple," Sung-min said with a grin. "Should I start planning a wedding? A bonding ceremony?" "Both?" "Both," Yira said. "We will honor both cultures. That will make you the first human Velthrin bonded pair officially recognized by both governments." One of the Velthrin diplomats said, "You will be symbols of the new peace." "We did not ask to be symbols," Tae-yang pointed out. "No," Sung-min agreed. "But sometimes, symbols choose us, not the other way around. What you two represent, a human and Velthrin choosing love over war, family over hatred, that gives people hope. Both our peoples need that right now." Later, after dinner, after the diplomats had left and the children were asleep, Tae-yang and Yira sat on the porch watching the stars. Earth's moon was rising, bright and full. "Do you regret it?" Yira asked quietly. "Your life was simple before, a soldier following orders. Now you are a diplomat, a symbol, bonded to an alien, father to a child. Not your species. Simple is overrated," Tae-yang said. "And no, I don't regret any of it. That moment in the crash, when I covered Lixara, that was the most important decision of my life. It led to everything else, to you, to this." He gestured at the house behind them, where their family slept. "I saved one child, and somehow gained everything I never knew I needed. I hated you," Yira admitted. "All humans. I wanted revenge for my mate's death, but you showed me that revenge would have destroyed me. That there was another way. You gave me back my daughter and gave me hope for the future." She leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. "Thank you, Tae-yang, for being stubborn enough to show mercy, for being brave enough to protect someone you did not know, for being wise enough to see past propaganda to the person underneath." "Same to you," Tae-yang replied. "You could have let me die. You could have handed me over to Krell. Instead, you chose honor. You protected me. You taught me about your people and let me into your family. You saved me in every way someone can be saved." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Somewhere up there was the Velthrin homeworld. Somewhere out there were colonies being rebuilt, families being reunited, and a future being written by people from two worlds working together. "What do you think happens next?" Yira asked. "I don't know," Tae-yang admitted. "But whatever it is, we face it together. You, me, Lixara, family." "Family," Yira echoed, and the word had never sounded more beautiful. Inside the house, Lixara stirred in her sleep and smiled. She was dreaming of a world where she could walk freely, where human children and Velthrin children played together, where nobody looked at her family and saw something wrong. She was dreaming of a future her protector, father, and warrior mother were helping to build. It was a good dream. And for the first time in years, it felt like a dream that might actually come true. The war was over, the peace was just beginning, and one act of compassion, One instinctive choice to protect an enemy's child had changed the fate of two entire civilizations. That was the power of humanity at its finest. Not the strength to destroy, but the courage to show mercy. Not the ability to hate, but the capacity to love. Taeyang had earned more than an alien mother's desire to claim him. He had earned a place in history, a family that transcended biology, and a future bright with possibility. And it all started with the simple decision to protect a scared child in a burning transport, using nothing but his own body as a shield.